Hello, Taurus, and welcome to Indigo Rising Tarot. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope you're having a great day. This will be your weekly reading for the week of October 12th through the 18th. And during that time, we have several moon energies that move through. We've got the waning gibbous, then the last quarter moon on the 15th, and then the waning crescent. So those waning energies are very much about self-reflection and rebirth. It's a good time to make positive changes. That last quarter comes in, it's definitely, reflecting and just releasing what's no longer serving us and really trying to prepare for new beginnings as the new moon approaches. And then that waning crescent is really just that final let go. It's rest, relax, meditate, really let go of things and just get your energy rested up for that new moon energy that's on the way. So please keep those moon energies in mind as we move through the week. This will be an intuitive general reading for energies that you may or may not encounter, Taurus. So, as always, please take what resonates and leave what doesn't for someone else. And your overall message for this reading is a time for healing. And a good time with that, with those moon energies. Yeah, it's a good time to just kind of reflect and heal and, again, let go of what is not working for you and try to figure out what you want to do when the new moon rolls around. So, all right, as I'm shuffling, my fun weekly reminder, Taurus, is that you get out of your comfort zone and try to do some meditation this week. So, and again, with that moon energy, with that self-reflecting, it's a good time to just find a spot, even if it's, if meditation is not something that you do, sometimes you're not sure how to get started, just find a very quiet spot. Just close your eyes and go within, set off, set some time. And if it's hard for you to settle down, it gets easier as you do this. Just close your eyes and you don't really want to focus on any one thing. You just kind of try to get to where there's just nothing, where you're just literally relaxing. So any of those thoughts that come into you as that's happening, you just kind of want to go, I see you, and now let's move you away. So it's not really a time for deep thinking like that. It's a time to really try to just empty your mind. So anyway, my friendly reminder this week is to try to get some meditation time in for yourself. It's just a really good time with that moon energy to work on that. So all right, let's get into this reading. Taurus, October 12 through 18, a time for healing. Let's see what you guys have going on this week. Oh, okay. So a little bit of a broken heart here with the Three of Swords. I always say that even though this is a heart, it is sword energy, so it can be thoughts, thoughts that are in your head that it's disappointing. It's something that you learn or find out or have to go through or is brought to you through some sort of messaging or something someone says to you. And of course, it's heartbreaking, but it's a mental thing as well. So looks like you've got some of that energy going on this week, something that has just been a little sad for you, and you're going to have to heal from it now. Your current situation is the Six of Swords. So lots of swords energy. So this could be, again, things that are going on inside your head or communications that you're having. Excuse me, I feel like I'm about to sneeze, but maybe it went away. Okay. Yeah, so Six of Swords is moving forward with thoughts, so this, and that could be part of the healing. This thing happens, it's sad, but you have to get over it and you have to move forward, and you're just kind of thinking new thoughts. But this water's very calm. Of course, there's a storm in the background of this card here. If you see, it's very gray, very stormy. Well, now it's like, and it's almost like pretty quickly, whatever happens, the storm, the skies are clearing up a little. It's still a little gray up here. We're not looking at sunshine, but we are moving forward and we're kind of moving out of that storm, if that makes sense. At the root of your situation is the Hanged Man. So something has given you some sort of new perspective, something you learned, either this week or even last week. Something that you've learned is kind of just given you a new perspective, and maybe that new perspective is a little bit of it's a little disappointing. It's not, like almost like you're seeing that things were not as they appeared to be. So interesting when that comes along. Let's see what is in your recent past here is the Page of Wands. So this is, some new path in the way of something that you're very passionate about. So it looks like, maybe that new path, maybe you started down that path and you found that it wasn't all that you expected. That has changed your perspective, and now you're just having to move forward in a different manner. So that's fine. This happens to all of us. Just pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and let's keep going. Let's keep moving forward. Nothing to see here. Nothing, just time to keep going, especially if it is a time to heal that up. We're going to try to, that's the focus this week. On your mind this week is the Knight of Pentacles. So this is some sort of action in the material, financial realm. This could be something having to do with your job. This could be moving up into your job. This could be a raise. This could be, there's some sort of action here that's happening with this knight. That has to do with something in the material realm. Now, it could be as big as something with your job, or a promotion or that sort of thing, but it could also just be something that you change in your physical realm. Maybe you get a new sofa, so like it's something, but it's something material, tangible, something you can touch. And that's what's on your mind this week. And you might be thinking that you need a new sofa, and maybe that action doesn't come into play until next week or the next couple of weeks, but it's something that's on your mind, that there's some material change that you're wanting to make in your life. Okay, what is just ahead of you this week is some judgment. And of course, that comes with this new perspective that, anytime we're making some judgment about something, it's because you've learned something, you've have some new awareness about something. And so, of course, you're going to make some judgment about it because it's something that has come to the surface, something that you've seen. It's some truth that's come to light that you didn't know before, and it's you make an evaluation based on that. So of course it does change your perspective, and you do look at things a little bit differently when that happens, because judgment is ultimately about evolving. It's just about evolving into a new awareness and learning something that you didn't know before. In your advice position here, Taurus, is the King of Swords. So the advice is to just maintain your very logical being. Don't get too emotional about any of this. We have quite a bit of swords here. If I had to give the King of Swords a name, this is like Mr. Spock. There's no emotion involved. It's just they give me the facts, and that's how I see things, and that's how I will speak. Everything's just very, very logic based, and it's your advice is to kind of keep that through. And again, even though this is heartbreak, we're talking about swords, which is air. This is things that are, communicated to you, things that you're communicating back to someone, but you're just going to keep that logical frame of mind as you move through your week this week, and also in the way that you communicate. Very, very logical. Just keep it there and you're going to be great. What is beyond your control this week is the Six of Pentacles. So I always like to ask when this card comes up, what is happening? What do you see happening in this card? And some of you will say, well, obviously this guy is giving to these people. And some of you will say, well, obviously these people are receiving from this guy. So whichever, the place that your mind went first is kind of where you are right now. You're either in giving or you're in receiving mode, and both are fine. But there's some exchange that's happening there. And again, it could be because it is Pentacles. It's beyond your control, and it could be that new sofa that you were thinking about, someone gives to you, and it just happens that you put it out there in the world in your mind. And you need a new sofa, and a friend calls and says, hey, I have this extra sofa, so that it could be as easy as that, or it could be some sort of exchange like this, like I said, when it comes to your employment, or the way that you collect your coins, the way that you make your money. What is your secret desire? What you're trying to avoid is the Queen of Swords. So is it your secret desire? We've got the King here being very logical, and the Queen is very much the same way, but I do see the Queen of Swords as being, where the King of Swords is kind of thinking logically, she is speaking logically. So is it your secret desire to do that, or are you trying to avoid, sometimes she can come off as a little bit harsh, like she takes no crap, right? And so that'll be your big question. Is it your secret desire to be that strong, to be that logical, and to speak and present yourself that way? Or are you trying to avoid that? Are you trying to kind of cower behind, and I'm not saying cower. It doesn't necessarily mean it's a negative thing. If it's something you're trying to avoid, you could have perfectly great reasons for not wanting to be that, right? It's not like there's a right answer here. This is your answer, and it's whatever. Are you trying to avoid doing that for a reason? Or is that your secret desire? That'll be your big question of the week to and help you get you through the week. And again, there's no right answer. It's just however you choose to handle that. In your outcome position is the Queen of Cups. So even if you choose to, I like that these two queens are opposing, or not opposing, but facing each other. Almost like this is logic and this is emotion, and it's almost like a battle between the two. Okay. So, and that'll be a big question. That'll be a big question. I mean, it looks like in your outcome, you do come out with just like some really good emotional balance. But it looks like it's kind of a struggle that I see happening there with you. It's kind of the struggle between, what's logical and what's emotional. And again, you're trying to heal something. So in the, you're trying to, I just almost see this as like a little battle. Like I said, it's like because your logic kicks in and then your emotions take over, and then your emotions are there and your logic kicks in. So this is going to be your big thing for the week, Taurus. So take a breath, get yourself through it. Again, work on meditation this week. We're at this, here we are with that full moon energy. We're coming off of that into that waning energy, right? Where the light of the moon, things are a little more murky and less brightly lit like we had with the full moon, right? Um so you can't see around all the corners is what I'm saying. So there might be things, and you might be battling again this logic and this emotion. Just take a breath and relax yourself through it, and meditate and escape from it a little bit as well. What is hidden from you this week is lots of choices. So you don't have the luxury of choice this week. There must be something in some way that you're kind of locked into something that you have to deal with it. You have to deal with it because you're locked in and you don't have the luxury of not doing it. You don't have a whole lot of choices. So keep that in mind, that is hidden from you this week. Let's get a final message here from the Soul Oracle deck. Final word for Taurus as they go through whatever the struggle and learning for the week. I mean, I'm not even sure. Tarot is a template. This could be something work related. This could be something relationship related. This could be something family related. Just see where this energy templates over for your life, and, work with it the best you can. Again, you're trying to balance and logic and emotion, which that's not always easy. All right, final word here from the Soul Oracle deck. Embrace your power. Okay. I love that. I don't see that card a lot, so that's very interesting. So embrace your power. What is your power? And go ahead and embrace it. Let's see what you need to do in the way of self-care. Self-care for Taurus this week as they go through this little battle within themselves or the world. And the card that comes out for you is Truth. Truth is different at different levels of consciousness. Reserve judgment. So here we are with this judgment card. Reserve judgment. And the only way I see that is sometimes when we are in a particular place, we see things a certain way. Someone who is maybe a little more evolved than you sees it differently. Someone who's less evolved than you sees it differently. We all do kind of see those truth things in different ways. Some of us can step back and look at the big picture of a thing. Sometimes sometimes I can do that. Sometimes with certain things, I can't do that. I'm in it. I can't see the bigger picture. I go ahead and let my gut reaction happen, or, um, so that's kind of your battle this week with yourself is, again, it's going to be, logic or emotion, and which one will you choose? And whichever one you choose is fine. It's, there's no right or wrong here. It's just what you're going to choose this time. But I guarantee you, if you choose logic, you'll have another time and another thing that comes up very similarly where you're then going to choose emotion. So, and that's just the way life is. You're always presented with these different opportunities, different ways to handle things, and that's how we learn. So, Taurus, I thank you so much for being here with me today. I do hope there was something in this reading that you can take away and use in your week, this week. If you're comfortable sharing, let me know. Drop a comment down below. Let me know what this heartbreak was for you, what you're moving towards, and how did you manage doing, the fighting the logic with the emotional. So I'd be very curious to hear that. Also, if you like my reading style, please hit the like and subscribe button. It really helps push me out in the algorithm. And as a newer YouTuber, I really appreciate that. And also, most importantly, it'll help you find me next week where you can come back and we can see what happens next in your story. So thanks so much, Taurus, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.